I'm Mark, he's Brian, and we are just thrilled today to have Jump, America's premier Van Halen experience on the Mark 2.0 podcast.
Jump.
Welcome, guys. Introduce yourselves, each of you.
What's up? Well, we'll start from this side and we'll go across.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Eric Sutherland, and I'm Alex.
Yep.
Eric, thank you.
My name is Mike Newman, or I guess I go under the premise Michael Steven or something like that.
There you go.
On social media, I play David Lee Roth. I'm the singer of the band.
Yeah.
My name is Cody Waddle. I play Eddie Van Halen.
Thank you, Cody.
My name is Jarrett Cunningham, and I am the bass player, Michael Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah, great job. It has been a real pleasure watching you guys. You know, I come from that time when Van Halen was pretty much at his peak. It was about 82 or something like that, right? So I'm in these crowded malls. You never see that anymore. And I remember a really crowded arcade, and up on the screen there was Van Halen, and Jump was on there, man, and it was just blaring out into that arcade, and you could barely move around, and everyone was trying to get another quarter, and the quarters reigned supreme during that time.
Oh yeah.
And that's just really, I have a very vivid image of Jump, the song, the look, the vibe, the 80s MTV birth and the birth of really rock video. And it's really a treat to see someone honor that, I guess, is what I want to say, and share it. And thank you for being here so much, all of you gentlemen. What a great job you're doing.
Dude, well, that was one heck of an introduction. I've got to be honest with you.
I tell you, well, I've been thinking about you guys, you know, and I kind of wanted to do that, you know. Let me just say, I had all the Kiss albums by the time I was in the third grade. You know, I saw that movement happen. I saw Motley Crue open for Kiss, and I was changed forever.
Yep.
And once my ears started, once my ears stopped ringing, I said I wanted to be Vince Neil, you know. But of course, that was about the same time that Van Halen was doing its thing, and it was just this unstoppable train.
Yep.
And who's going to speak for the band at first here? If I want to say, you know,
I guess I will. I could take the reins of most of it. So,
well, let me give you a compliment. You know, David Lee Roth is let me put it this way: the recorded David Lee Roth is no easy task, and you're killing it, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen him do it live, and he couldn't do it as good as you. So good job, man. I tell you right now, it's fun to listen to you guys, because when I hear you guys, it sounds like the original music so well, you know. And it's. But anyway,
well, two things in regards to that statement that I have to say. One is about the guys, and the other is about the comments that you have just placed because of what we've experienced the last couple of weeks with like our social media. First off, I feel like super blessed when this was like merely an idea, and a buddy of mine, Cody, that kind of like came up with it and helped me put it into motion. I like feel super blessed to have the freaking band that we do, because all of these guys are like, it's just like, it feels like friends in the bus, and it just feels like we just have fun. And unless I'm totally I mean, Justin has been coming out with us for the past 4 months or so, and it's just been like this whole year has just been so monumental for us as a band, and I'm like really thankful to have the guys that we do, Eric, Cody, and Jarrett, and then like I say, our stage tech Justin, and then a couple of our media guys, John Fleischman, John F Media, shout out John, and then Brandon Michael Perez. Both of those guys have helped curate a lot of our content, our website. They've been like super instrumental. And then, like I say, my buddy Cody Sizemore was the one that kind of pitched me the idea, knew I could kind of do some Dave stuff, and he's really been monumental in building this band as well. So I hope I kind of covered a few of the shout outs that I wanted to make sure that we covered there. And then as far as
you know what, let me say this right now, the whole group that has come together here, what you just said is just so rare and beautiful. It's just amazing how everything has come together like this
Yeah.
idea. Whose idea did you just say that was? Really?
Okay, well, in August, I want to say August 13 of 2019, I played a cover show. I'm a drummer by trade, actually. I'm not really like a singer. I've played drums since I was 9, so like 19 years or so. I'm 28 now, and I went to lunch with Cody the next. I used to tour like we were talking about earlier. Before we started Epic Proportions tour out west and everything. Cody and I were in a band together. So Cody and I have been best friends, best men in each other's wedding, the whole nine. And he and I went to brunch the next day, April 14th. Like I say, I remember like it was yesterday. And I said, I left music. I had to take a break for, a year and a half to just kind of reset my life. I want to get back into it for XYZ reasons. He says, start a tribute band. At first I was like, hell no. But he get kind of, he's like, hey, you could put together a young tribute band. You could look like them, sound like them. You'd have like because with all due respect, the tribute band is like kind of an older and a more experienced musicians market. A lot of the guys in tribute bands are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they've been playing this stuff for 30 or 40 years, longer than we've been alive. So he just said, take your time, build the band, build the brand, and just have fun with it, because that's mainly what you're here for, is to get back on stage and have fun. So Cody pitched it, and he had always known that I wanted to get out from behind the kit and be a front man. And it just is, like I say, it's kind of like just blossom and grown, and we've got some cool opportunities. And then, like I say, pick the guy, just kind of pick the guys up along the way. And it's been like, holy crap, man. It's been like a machine. The past, for sure, the past 6 to 8 months has just been like a totally different shift in the winds for us. So
sorry to interrupt, and I hope I didn't throw you off what you were saying. But here's another thing I'm really impressed on, is how I didn't understand how pro you guys were at this point. You have come now here with all your guys. You all have like mics, you have sound guys, you have people with you. You have all these things. You have all these things at all these venues going on. And I'm like, I just thought you guys were really good at what you did, and you got some things here and there, but it sounds like you guys have like actually a good business thing going here, right?
Well, for sure. And so that's actually, I'm gonna do another thing, because when like I said, we're pleased to be here. I hate to show signs of a baby face, but like, this is our first podcast, so we're really excited about this.
Oh yeah,
we are too.
So are we.
I'd like to draw some attention to Thunderstruck, America's AC/DC. That band has been instrumental in our growth as well. They're really good friends of ours. Long story short, in 2019, we played our first show in Toledo in December, and we had started, this band started in April, remember? And so just about, what is that, 8-9 months or something, we played in December. Eric was at that show.
I was there.
Our former drummer, who's now a Sweetwater salesman, and he's actually our representative, Jared Spindler. Shout out Jared Spindler. We played a show, and Eric saw us, and that's a whole nother story. So I'm gonna fall off track here. But as far as like the whole pro thing, whatever, everyone that's been involved here, Jarrett is like a schooled, like, excellent bass player, musician, very knowledgeable in the technology side of things, and he has played in bands before, so he kind of, he's got the process, and he also is used to really working as a team as a musician. Cody, same thing. He was in the music scene. We knew each other prior. Cody Sizemore, the guy that kind of gave us the idea. Justin, Brandon Perez, John Fleischman. Everyone has been in bands and has been around, media, everything except for Eric.
Except for me.
But Eric came in at like a whirlwind at 16 years old. Wow. And picked up the role. I actually talked to his dad before I really like hired him, I guess, right, per se. Just because I'm like, I can't call us. I'm like 26 years old. I can't be calling a 16-year-old to play drums in my traveling band.
No, smart. Yeah.
Gotta make the right move.
Yeah. So, but either way, we played that first show. I have a small media business that I've kind of ran on my own for the most part, except for like, projects that I do with, guys like Brandon or John. And I ended up seeing that Thunderstruck was coming to St. Andrews Hall in January of 2020, right before everything shut down. I shot a quick highlight reel and some photos for him. Dave Moody, shout out Dave Moody. Also, he's the one that linked us up really with our agent. And, you know, like I say, Dave Moody, Kevin Feller, Chris Jones, Corey Bates, you know, just really been awesome guy. Bob, I will say Bobby. Let's just say it right now. Bobby, Kyle, you know, the other guys from Thunderstruck as well, Brian, their tech, all of them are great friends of ours, and they're really great people in general. And like I say, their agent, Greg St. Charles, is who ended up finding us through Thunderstruck, because I had went out and after the St. Andrews date with Thunderstruck, they hired me out for a few weekends, and I went to Iowa, South Dakota, Cleveland House of Blues, 20 Monroe back when it was open, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I shot music videos for them. So I did a few promo music videos for them, and that's how Jump landed in the lap of Greg St. Charles. Greg was like, "You're young, you're hungry, there's a lot of work to do, but I think we can do it." And he's like, "Are you ready?" "Yeah." And he strapped a freaking jetpack to the back of this thing and lit it on fire. And so that's kind of how everything, I mean, that's how our agent came to be. Again, you know, I've worked with John and Brandon on numerous other video projects because we're all in the media business. And then kind of how the band came together, and having been in bands in the past, when I kind of was with Cody Sizemore on the whole thing, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to put spandex on and act like someone else, I have to at least do this well. Like, I can't be doing this and be out here just joking around, you know? So there you go. There's a lot of ground to cover, I feel there, but I'm trying to pack it in as tight as I can. And
no, that's really cool. Before I start to get to know your band, actually, I was just, so you guys like saw what Thunderstruck was doing, and you said there's a huge market for this thing, or were you already kind of doing the same thing at the time?
Thunderstruck was definitely like, I knew who they were and I knew what they were doing, but I didn't really know ultimately like what magnitude they were operating at until they would play in Toledo and they'd pull like 300 heads. Toledo is a super hard market. That's not Thunderstruck's fault. Toledo is a hard market because it's in between Cleveland and Detroit. So they get a lot of nationals, blah, blah, blah. I knew what they were doing, but when I went up to St. Andrews Hall, it was like sold out, and that's like a 900 or 1,000 cap venue, something like that. And I'm like, a tribute band sells out St. Andrews Hall in downtown Detroit. Okay, let me get this straight.
Wow.
Then they got my video, and they called me immediately and were like, "Can we take you to Iowa and South Dakota?" I go out there, and they play this like performing arts center in Nowheresville, Iowa, and they pull like 1,300 tickets, and I'm like, wow, okay, all right. And then we went to another spot, and they had like 450 heads through this, like, honestly kind of like a cool venue, but it was definitely like a rock and roll bar, and it was just like this packed, black walls, black ceiling, dirty floors, scary bathrooms, like rock bar. And I'm like, dude, that is like rock and roll. I'm like, okay. So after just kind of like putting some thoughts together, like like I said, this is like this would be my fourth business in my 20s, technically, if you count my last band. And I'm like, the numbers just started to make sense. And I'm just like, dude, okay, I can see where this is, I can make sense of this. And just, that was kind of our North Star. And like I say, but all respect and shout out and the love that, oh my God, they have been just awesome people, and I just really appreciate them. We played like 3 or 4 shows with them this year, and they're just so cool. Like I say, Thunderstruck, America's AC/DC. If you are not hip, you are mistaken if you're into the tribute market. So
that's right.
That is something I'm gonna definitely check them out. So, and we're
Same
talking
here.
Basically, we're talking about live performances only right now, right? I mean,
yeah,
because everything else seems to be online and streamed and digital and blah 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 blah. But you guys actually go out there and like do some hard friggin' work.
Yeah, we did 36 shows this year. We were gonna have 38 technically. And this is like,
That's
all
like a,
things
get you
considered.
jump. It's like you literally are like, yeah. I mean, you have to get your ass out there and jump your ass
Oh,
around
yeah.
because you're doing Van Halen now. And those
Yeah.
videos, that's all that guy did.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yep.
man.
And like I say, the whole band, I mean, everything. His step up to the plate with Alex, Cody.
Let's start with Cody. You know what? Let's start to get to know everybody. Cody, how you doing? It's good. I know we left you sitting there for so long now. But
Yeah, I'm
we've
ready to
been
pass
chatting
this
for
off
so
for a
long.
second.
But
Yeah,
Cody, thank you so much for taking on that. Dude, your Eddie Van Halen thing is so great. It's very, very, very honorable tribute to Eddie Van Halen. The great, the great, the great. And even later in life, you know, he was just like killed it. You know, David Lee, not so much, but you know, Eddie was always like boom right there. I don't know, David, he just went off in outer space. I don't know what happened to him. I'm sorry, that's what happened to David Lee Roth. I love the fucking guy, but that's what happened. So
Yeah.
so Cody, tell me what were you doing before the band and how'd you get in the band?
Before the band, I was working probably 50 hours a week.
Wow.
I feel you, bro.
And that was really about it. I did like a just one-off show. A Metallica
Dude, that's
show.
cool.
A couple buddies of mine got together and we just played like 6 Metallica songs, I think.
Nice.
I don't even remember how long it was. But
It was one of the
yeah.
cover shows that Cody put on that I was talking about.
yeah.
Well, if you can accurately pull off Kirk Hammett, I mean, you're probably going to be able to do the job.
That's what Cody Sizemore thought. So I linked up with him a little bit. Then I got a call from him. Couple months after that, I think. And yeah.
I quit my job. See you guys.
What show was that? What show was the Metallica show?
It was Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer.
Okay.
And it was at Frankie's.
It was one of those. Okay.
Yep, it was one of those.
Cody Sizemore.
Monsters of Metal thing.
Yeah.
He
Cody
did,
Sizemore would put on those, and you know, hybrid bands would come together, and they'd be like, it was like thankful for new metal, and it was like, you know, Slipknot, Linkin Park, blah blah blah, whatever. And then that was one of the '80s, like, you know, metal shows that he would put on, and bands would just come together as a hybrid, you know, different bands, different friends, and they just play the covers, and it was so much fun to draw a couple hundred people into Frankie's Inner City. Anyhow, that's what that. Okay, I forgot about that.
No, yeah,
the Metallica show.
That's why. I mean, that's where I started talking more with Cody Sizemore, and he gave him my information, I suppose.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome. So now this pretty much keeps you busy. I mean, right? I mean, that sounds like you guys have to do quite a bit of planning and moving around. And I mean, you have like long shows, short shows. I mean, is there a lot of planning and shit that goes into this now?
Oh yeah, it's a full-time job.
It's I mean, we still work during the week. Like we are still like in the transitional phase, just growing this thing.
That's cool.
But like, yeah, we still, all of us still work during the week and everything, but it is like a whole second. I mean, it is a second freaking job, 100%, because you are, you know, again, going from nothing. I mean, we played, what did we play last year? Maybe
five
shows,
5 or 6,
maybe 5 or 6 shows. And I told Greg when he first picked us up, I just said, if we did 25, I'd be like real happy. If we did 40, I'd be screaming. That was my statement. And we were supposed to, like I say, we were going to end out in Nebraska and Kansas for New Year's, and that just got rescheduled to April. My spirit says I just felt good about that. I'm like, okay, you know, we finished the year with 36. I'd love to go out and play those shows, but it was just going to be better planning, better shows, better situation in April. So 36 shows though, that were almost to 40.
Not bad.
None at all.
Very nice. Very nice.
We'll be on track to do 50 to 70 for sure next year.
Wow. 100%.
Is this all in the Midwest or is it all over the country?
So far,
What I would imagine, we've done like 11-ish states right now. Probably, yeah, I want to say about 11 states. We'll probably be at least into, you know, 15 to 17, 16 to 18, something like that next year. I think if the bell curve continues with growth by 2024, we could be all the way out west. It depends. Because we're open to the idea of like actually Get the Let Out, if you're familiar. Have you heard of them?
No.
No,
Okay,
tell us.
Get the Let Out is like the next. I mean, like, okay, Get the Let Out and Brit Floyd are like the outside of like a band like Hairball. Are you familiar with Hairball?
I don't think I've heard of Hairball
Oh my
either. Tell us.
gosh, guys. Okay, we're gonna
See,
pop-
there's this
educate us,
whole
please.
culture. We're tapping into this whole culture right now, Mark. And so yeah. So
Please educate
tell
us.
us first.
Okay.
What is this culture about, right? I mean, this is about the best, I think, the best tribute bands, right? Are these other tribute bands that you're talking about?
These are other like
Okay.
the freaking patriarch, the Supreme Court.
That's right.
These are the Supreme Court of tribute bands
I like this.
that I'm referencing right now. So like for instance, you get on a national scale, like Thunderstruck is on a national scale. They've been coast to coast. There are bands that have, I think, just been around longer and have just built machines, basically where Thunderstruck is headed now into that direction, because they've been really like on the grind for a few years. When you look at like what Get the Let Out is doing and what Brit Floyd are doing and what Hairball are doing, their productions are on the scale of like really every show they do is probably like 1,000 tickets at least, up to 4 or 5, some 10,000 ticket shows, like that type of stuff, like arenas, large theaters. Hairball, I was saying Dave Moody earlier from Thunderstruck. He was the vocalist for Thunderstruck for like 4 years. He got hired by Hairball and he does like multiple characters now. You got to look him up, hairballonline.com.
So what music is he doing? I mean, I know Thunderstruck is AC/DC. What is Hairball?
Hairball is everything. So like Dave in particular does like Quiet Riot. He does Gene Simmons, Dee Snider, Brian Johnson, Alice Cooper, a lot of that. And then they've got like another guy that does like Vince Neil, David Lee Roth, Axl Rose, Ozzy Osbourne. He does kind of like a different set of voices. And then another guy that does like Steve Perry, Judas Priest, freaking also in their like pyrotechnics. It's like over the top. It's unreal. Like that. I'm telling you, like that. It's a whole production. Semi truck with the back line, Prevost tour bus with the band. Like it's the real deal. They are the Supreme Court of tribute bands, straight up.
It's big.
And so then like Get the Let Out, for instance, would be, they are a straight up Zeppelin tribute band, and they're like at the scale where they just play large theaters and like really big time stuff. Like they've been doing Red Rocks for like at least 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. I don't want to speak on like actual terms there, but like they've sold it out a couple of times, 10,000 tickets. So as a tribute band,
a lot of money
to sell out Red Rocks, that is like, we played House of Blues back in July, and that was like a childhood dream of mine. But like I don't care about baseball stadiums or like anything. Red Rocks for like my entire career has been like the pinnacle of like, if I play there, you can send me to my grave the next morning and I'll just be laughing.
Die happy.
I'll just be laughing. And especially as a tribute band, straight up, like I would never, this whole thing has just gotten, it's just growing out of control. And like I say, the people around it, the people surrounding it and supporting it, it's just like,
well, no wonder. You're also looking at these other bands you're speaking of now that's really out of control. I had no idea things got that big for tribute bands.
Yes.
So yeah, wow.
And then Brit Floyd, that's the last one. Brit Floyd, check that out. They're a Pink Floyd tribute.
Floyd, yeah.
They're famous for their $1 Million Light Show. That's what so they've
that's
played,
brilliant.
They played that's what they like advertise. Come see the $1 Million Light Show, the Pink Floyd tribute, Brit Floyd. And they've done like probably 3,000 tickets in Toledo at the Huntington Center, but they cut off like, it's like an 8,000 cap arena and they cut it in half basically. And then it's like a little mini bowl around it, It's really cool. They're awesome. I've seen them. It was unreal. So
So what about like opening for one of these things or something? Does that go on? I mean, do smaller tribute bands open for the large?
That's
Kind of
good
like
point.
in
I
the other
think
real life.
I think that Get the Let Out would probably be the most attainable because they play a local venue called the Centennial Terrace. We actually had the pleasure of playing there for a like a running event, like a running race thing
Yeah.
I
back
think
in
so.
July. And it's I mean, it's a huge stage. I mean, probably 60-foot wide stage by like 35, 40-foot deep. It's a
I'd say
huge
so.
stage.
It's
It made like our whole banner look like a napkin.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like a joke. And then our back line, I mean, we have 6 marshals, you know, so 3 full stacks and then a few 8x10s. And we just looked like we had combo amps on stage because it
Mm.
was so big. I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. But it was sweet. Played through like I think it was like a Meyer line array sound system, and it was just beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Image, Jim White. I've known Jim White forever. He actually took me to my first show in Toledo. Shout out Jim White from Image. And actually, decades past, Cody Waddle's band, Decades Past, was opening for Falling in Reverse. It was back in like 2000. It was in
Yeah.
like 2011, I'd
Mm.
say.
That was like my first show in general.
Yep, it was sick, and I knew who Cody Waddle was from that day on, back in like 2011.
We almost had no business being there, but we made it happen. It was all right.
Yep, it was sweet. It was sweet. It worked out. So
That is awesome.
anyhow,
That is
so
awesome.
I think Get the Let Out. I don't think that, you know, it would just depend, but I think that that would be probably our most attainable situation because they do probably 16 to 1800 tickets at Centennial Terrace, and they put on a real good show there. It's an awesome vibe. It's outdoors, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful stage and setting, especially for a Zeppelin tribute of their stature. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, see, I never even really fully got so crazy into Zeppelin like my friends, but to watch a band like that, I would just have so much fun because I mean, Zeppelin was everywhere. I mean, you just know it. You just can't turn around without hearing Zeppelin in my time. But let me ask something to your youngest, your drummer. Why do you
Go
think?
for it.
Why do you
Yeah.
think all of this old sentimental shit is so damn popular right now?
Well, man, I feel myself that, you know, being this young, it is just so big right now for, you know, how long it's been. And I just feel like it needs to be around, you know.
When you look out into the crowd, is it just like a bunch of old people like me, or who's out there really?
Well, it really depends on the show and the
Good
location. I
point.
mean, granted, you know, 95% of the crowd usually is older, but we will get, you know, younger 20s, you know, 30s come. And so seeing the younger people show up is just like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, there's some hope, you know, for the younger generations like me who still,
Sure.
you know, like all this, you know, older music. And it just makes me feel awesome, you know, seeing all the younger faces come out.
You know, I like it because, you know, I still see, do any of your friends like any of that 80s stuff? Because I still see the occasional Def Leppard shirt, and it'll be on someone who's like 20 something. And I'm like, you know, and I always admired the metal bands because they were hard workers.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I think people kind of slack off now. Is that shitty?
Well, I think for the most part there is a lot of younger people that don't really, you know or care for the older music. But I know, me personally, I have most of my friends know and love all the 80s, 90s, you know, rock and roll that I like. And so it's like, man, that's awesome. But sadly, the majority of it, you know, the younger kids don't really listen to, you know, that kind of stuff anymore, which is a bummer. But everyone I know seems to really enjoy it.
How did you discover it?
Well, I grew up, my dad's played in several, local cover bands around Toledo for, the past 20 years. And so I just grew up with, the old rock and roll, kind of thing. He'd bring me out as a little kid to, all the shows he would play. And so it was surrounding me my whole life. And
What was
so
your
I
dad's
kinda-
band playing?
Just 80s, 90s, really some early 2000s cover, rock, songs and stuff like that. It was nothing huge, just a few
20 years beyond what you're playing. That's an ironic.
Yeah.
I know. Wow.
That's right.
Good point.
Awesome.
And so, so I was just around it my entire life. And that's kind of how, I came to love playing it and so on.
That is awesome.
His
That's
dad
awesome.
actually, shout out Dave Sutherland, because he actually taught me how to play harmonica for
He
the full
did.
bug.
He did.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Harmonica. That's
He
not
listened
easy.
On Diver Down, the song "The Full Bug"
Oh, yeah.
should have been a hit. Don't know why it wasn't, but it's one of the banger originals on that album.
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
not hip, Diver Down album, "The Full Bug," and Dave Sutherland taught me how to play the harmonica solo.
There you go.
Wow. Wow. When Jump came out, I started hearing like synthesized keyboard and stuff. I'm like, hey, wait, where's this band going? I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I'm like, okay. All right, it was cute for MTV. Okay, but we're going to just turn up the distortion back up a little bit and we're going to throw that thing in the garbage. Just a little thing, but what do you think? I mean, did you pretty much cover everything that they did with David Lee Roth? And of course, you don't go Van Hagar anywhere, do you?
No, right?
No, the biggest thing with that offhand that I can tell you is like the vocals are just so vastly different. It's not even like a Bon Scott to Brian Johnson jump. It's just a totally different. I mean, Dave is like, he'll say, he said it in an interview once. He said, my voice is like four flat tires on a mud road. And then you've got Sam that's just like this super high register, in all respect to Sam, it's just we just do the Roth era at the moment, And honestly,
I never accepted it. I could never accept it. It was a mistake from the get-go, out of the gate.
Dude, I'll tell you straight up.
Everyone was like, it's over. That's it.
Van Halen as like the, people want to write off, there's, Sam, or they want to write off Dave or whatever. Both played instrumental parts, but like the classic Van Halen feel, that like atomic punk, just the whole vibe of the band was different. And when it comes down to it, like we played with the Van Halen tribute band called Right Now. Some really great dudes, Ryan Monty and his band from they're kind of scattered around Ohio, but they're from the Cleveland area. We played House of Blues with them, and we did the Best of Both Worlds package. So the Sam package opened up and we ended up headlining. It was, like I say, it was like a dream show for for us. And I had to joke with them and I said, well, Van Halen sold twice as many albums as the Sam, as the Sam era. So like, it just makes sense, and even the promoter of the show made a joke about it too. And I was like, all right, right on, so Van Halen as a whole, like the early years just defined them as a band, regardless of contrary belief, I guess.
I wholeheartedly agree. And that's with most things. I just see that with everything, yeah, I was just talking about like really early Def Leppard. It's just like so raw and cool, and it just got so commercialized, as it went, it just kind of just became uninteresting, but you guys are just doing, I mean, you got some, like when I was singing, I had to play bass and sing a lot, so let me ask your bass player, do you have to do a lot of like backup vocals?
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Because I was paying attention and I was like, this guy's like actually a pretty good, and then the bass lines are not very simple. Van Halen's pretty hard. I mean, to play and sing.
Oh, yeah.
So was that difficult, or are you
I would say it was relatively difficult at first. Definitely the first few rehearsals that I had with the band, it definitely got some taking used to. Like I focused more on just playing the bass parts, and then from there I was like, okay, that now I got to work on the harmony bits on top of it. I do have a bit of ear for harmony and just understanding notes and stuff like that. I was fortunate enough to have either perfect or relative pitch.
Don't be bashful. You
no,
can
yeah,
tell
come
us.
on.
No,
I have it. Yeah, I'm not bashing
there
behind
you
it.
go. No.
But I was thankful to have it, so it made note identification a lot easier. It became easier for me to just harmonize with songs whenever I was just by myself in a car and just listening to something. I was able to sing along and basically just sing backup for it already there. So,
See, singers, they understand that because I can harmonize with my vacuum. My vacuum. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you're probably not a full-on singer. You know what I'm talking about? There's just like tones, and you hear tones or you don't hear tones. You know, God bless a lot of singers. They want to sing, but you know, having perfect pitch, you know, is a really rare thing, and it really shines in your performance. I gotta hand it to you, man, because I always struggle because, like I said, I was always more of a singer. That just came naturally to me. I didn't have to try. But I was in this 3-piece band where I was looking for this 4th guy. So they're like, just do it, just play the bass. I'm like, okay. You know, I was kind of shy anyway. I didn't want to just stand there. I couldn't do the David Lee Roth thing. I just couldn't do that kind of excessive personality thing. I was never my thing. So after a while, I was like, I kind of like hiding behind this thing, you know, but you know, so we'd always end up trying to get like 2 rhythm guitars, you know, or 2 guitars and a bass, you know, or something like that. But you know, but I was just saying, you know, you're a really hard worker, and I really enjoy watching you and listening to the harmonies. I listen closely, and you're really doing a great job. And for singers, when they're going to listen in, they're like, yeah, this guy's a good singer too.
oh, for sure. And there's even been some stuff where I've picked it up on, you know, what little live footage Van Halen actually has. I was fortunate enough to pick up on some of like the little bits that Michael would throw in that wouldn't be on the studio recording at all. So it adds just like an extra layer on top of whatever's going through. Full Bug was a big one that I thought about, where he adds on for the very last little bit of the chorus there. You know, some of the stuff with Unchained, it seems
I love
prevalent in
Unchained,
live
yeah.
stuff. Oh yeah,
The live
or
Yes.
Hot for Teacher, when he immediately
Oh,
after
yeah.
the last chorus he sing for the, I think one of the live 1984 tour videos that's out there, he just sings it in a completely different registry than what he's been singing it before, and it's just like, whoa, I
It's
gotta
like he
check
does
this
the
out.
fifths. I
Yeah.
think, does he do the
Yeah,
fifths?
I think he does the fifths.
Yeah. He just like cranks it up for that last part. I'm like, dude. But I gotta sing the praise real quick, because Jarrett is like I say, that's why I was like, don't be bashful, because dude, he's like phenomenal bass player, can like hear things, and like came into the band and was just like able to like immediately run practice and you know, help like improve on different parts that we needed. And like I say, it's just like, you know, it's been awesome.
How long is your show? Basically your average show?
About 90 minutes plus encore.
How many
So,
songs does that cover?
Van Halen songs are short.
Good
I wanna
point.
say
All those metal songs are short.
usually
Oh.
between like 22 to 26 songs.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So it'd be like if we stretched like we do some
22 songs in 90 minutes. Yeah, man, that's a good
cool.
show.
Yeah.
Shit.
22. Yeah, I was gonna say, because we had some where we're like all in. We were doing, I think, well, like I remember JD Legends, we had a lot, and I think it was 24, 25 songs. Like we could do 26 in about 2 hours, like with encore. Because what we'll generally do is to just deliver the best we can. Is like we like hate pulling songs, so we'll like add stuff, and we'll end up doing an hour 40, hour 45, then 2-song encore pretty quick. That's the Van Halen standard, was to play 2 encore songs. Here and there at certain points we've played 3. So what, generally speaking, that's the 90-minute plus encore, but we usually play 2 hours.
That is a really long set. That is a lot of work. I mean, you don't have to do 2 hours. You could probably get away with an hour. I
When
admire
it's an
that.
hour, man, when it's an hour, I'll tell you, that's like a sprint.
We get itchy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
good
like
point.
we can get real, like when we get thrown on an opening set, it's like we just go out with blood in our tongue, blood on our tongue. It's like let's just tear this up, because usually we're used to stretching it another hour, so you got to conserve a little bit. Like, but we played Oshkosh Arena a few weeks ago, or actually, like a month ago now.
Yeah.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh,
We
crazy.
did 40 minutes for that show, and I think we cut it to 38 to give us a little bit more wiggle room. But like
Take a picture. We
we
wanted
were-
to take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
we were downstairs, just in the rehearsal space, just trying to crank it out, and we had a stopwatch going just to be like, okay, how much can we squeeze in? Let's give a little bit of leeway. Like literally just trying to do the show just to make sure, like, is this enough? Do we have enough space? We were actually fortunate enough that we played fast enough to squeeze in one more song. Everybody wants some.
And that's a long.
Oh
song.
yeah,
They
I love
wanna
that
play
song.
one a lot more extended. Mike does a whole sword routine to go with it. And it was something where we weren't anticipating doing it, and as soon as we were got through with playing it, you could just see Eric's face in the background just light up, and just like, oh, we're doing this now, as he's just counting it in.
Yep, we've got some like I'll do some cues for the boys so they know, like, every now and then, like we've got some like hand signs. So if I give them like the peace sign, it's like watch me. So I'm giving people I'm giving them my secrets now. So, but like I'll give them like the peace sign, and it means like watch me. And I'll get maybe like if we, like, for instance, that situation we were running really a good time, and I'm like, okay, we've got some space here. And incidentally, my dad's favorite song is Everybody Wants Some, and it's a pinnacle point of our show, just with the sword routine and everything. So I looked at the boys, and I'm just like, Eric, take us to the jungle, because that's the cue for that
That's
song. And he's like, he like smiled and just like counted it right in, and just like
Yeah.
put it right in. So
I'm having flashbacks to my band days.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show this to my drummer, because I can remember him going, "Everybody walks up." And like, every time you say that, I see my drummer. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this video right over to him, because gosh, he was all about those old Van Halen songs, man. They're just so awesome. And he was, Alex was really good. You must get a good workout after 2 hours, bro.
Dude, it is crazy. Alex is a monster.
yeah,
So much double bass going on in there.
Oh, like crazy. I mean,
No wonder he had to get someone really young to sit in that chair, man. Yeah.
I always laugh too, because like I was in like a heavy alternative rock band when I would play, drums. So it was like a lot of double bass and a lot of like, our average BPM was probably like 180. And so it was a high pace show, and we would play like 30-45 minutes on most of our tours. And so I laugh because Eric comes in at 16 years old and is playing headlining shows pretty quickly. And, even Cody and I, just as like former, just the local musicians and local bands and stuff, that's really all you play as a local original, is like 30, maybe 45 minutes. And Jarrett was probably the only one of us with experience from his last few bands that he played with, where he'd go into clubs or something of that nature, and he'd play say a few hours, just divvied up in 45-minute sets. But I laugh because I'm like, Eric comes in, and there's some nights where like you look at him at the end of the night and
It's
you're
like
like,
drenched.
oh my God. And he's
Yeah,
like, and
right.
like 1 or 2 nights I remember we played Hot for Teacher, then one song between, and then I'm the One. And if you're familiar with I'm the One, it's basically like the Hot for Teacher of the first album.
Yep, it's got the gallop in it.
The gallop kick, and it's super high tempo. And he came up to us in the green room after, and he's like, we can never play Hot for Teacher and the One that goes together again.
Oh,
It
you
was
killed
so
him.
funny. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
You had the right idea.
And Eddie Van Halen was, I'm sure, at Van Halen, I mean, Eddie Van Halen's guitar, basically, I think, that no one ever really sounded again like Eddie Van Halen. He was just like, How long did it take you to pretty much get him down?
A while for sure.
How'd you
I'm
do
a-
that? You just
I'm a
start with your favorite songs and go from
No,
there.
yeah. I knew like You Really Got Me Now and Hot for Teacher just from learning guitar when I was like, a kid.
Mm.
But sorry, I forgot where I was going. I'm a doodler, so I can sit there and just play a whole lot of fast nothingness for a little bit, for a couple hours, honestly. So I mean, once I really like understood where he was going with it, it kind of clicked, I guess.
Oh yeah. So you can probably sound like Eddie Van Halen and play anything you want at this point.
Well,
Probably
I
can
mean,
mimic his style, you know.
I've been playing pretty good recently, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he was
been-
like considered one of the best guitar players
For
at the
sure.
time. I mean, there was like I don't know anybody better, you know. Maybe
No, he had to be.
there
like,
was him, maybe Randy Rhoads. Of course, he
Right.
was no longer alive, but
Yeah.
like I obviously was a Van Halen fan, but like before this I didn't really dive into it. And once we kind of started this, I really dived into it, and like I love it.
everybody tell me, who was your influences before all this got started? Who were all your influences?
Me,
Yeah.
I'm a big Metallica guy.
Me too.
There you go.
I love Metallica. Even their new stuff. I love it all.
I used to be in Jason Newsted's house. We used to
Really?
like party there. Yeah, because they're from Phoenix. And so my band would like kind of crash their parties. I got to talk to Dave Mustaine, and I got to talk to some P Metal Church. They're just all these random bands, Sepultura and just all these crazy bands. But yeah, Metallica went through there, Megadeth went through there, and like so one day the bus crashed and Jason was in Metallica, and we're like, holy shit. So he comes back a year later, white as a ghost. He goes, I quit. I can't do it.
Yeah.
They were just so crazy party animals that he could not do it. Anyway, that was my Metallica story.
That's crazy.
So what are your other guys' influences?
Well, my huge influence.
Oh god.
Do we want to hear this? No, I'm kidding.
Slayer. It's Slayer.
No, quite the opposite. My huge influence has to be REO Speedwagon.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
REO
lie.
Speedwagon, no.
That is
Yeah.
like my aside from Van Halen, that is like my top favorite band. I mean, they're just so good.
So let me tell you something about REO Speedwagon, dude.
Go for it.
I love the singer because it kind of like it was like me and my first girlfriend's like she loved one of the songs, so it was kind of our song. So there's that. Not only that, but after all my band times, I ran like karaoke shows, dude. And
Nice.
REO Speedwagon shows got the crowd moving like just like clockwork. You put
That's what
REO
I'm
on
saying.
it, everybody's like, yeah, I
Let's
don't know
go.
what it is. And I love REO, and I love that singer. So
Something about
that is
them.
awesome.
Kevin Cronin.
especially that live one of Riding the Storm Out.
Oh,
When you hear like the tornado siren.
Yep.
The other one's crap. I'm sorry, but it is.
I don't know. I can't remember what their original singer, what his name is, but when they redid that as a live song in the 80s, that is, I mean, that's the song. That's the
that's the version that you want
that's
to hear.
the one
And when
that
went
you
to
hear on the
karaoke-
radio.
Yeah, when you
And
went to
so-
karaoke, if you got stuck with the other one, you're screwed. I made sure.
Man, there's no
I
way.
made sure that I had to play a karaoke, the one with the the live version, because it's just
Exactly.
amazing. Yeah,
That is the best version, in my opinion, and a lot of people.
Oh, sure, 100%.
So, but
That's
is
cool.
like my biggest influence right there.
How about you, Justin? Who's your influences?
Oh, Justin, stage tech.
Justin.
Who's
Oh,
your
I'm
biggest
sorry.
influence, Justin?
Sorry.
Architects.
Like I say, we should. Justin, put your face on here for a second.
Yeah, come on,
Come on over here, man.
do your thing, Justin.
Justin has been
He's
like,
"No."
dude.
There we go.
How'd you meet these guys, Justin?
Oh, nice.
How'd you meet these guys, Justin?
I played in the same Toledo music scene as Cody and Mike, kind of just growing up, and got a hold of Mike one day when I knew they needed some tech work, and yeah, I've just been doing this ever since.
How'd you get into all this tech stuff?
Honestly, being too broke to pay other people to do it.
Yes, classic musician response.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even
That's
as we
awesome.
speak, like he's working on just like soldering
I'm making
stuff.
a bass pedal right now.
Yeah, he literally making a bass pedal as we speak. He's just listening. He's
Wow.
got his headphones on to make sure the microphones are leveled right and everything. But straight up, this is the man right here that, I mean, like he plays with Brandon, does Brandon Perez, one of our video and photo guys. Justin is actually a drummer as well. There we go. Oh yeah. Make sure we don't cut off little Eric when he comes.
So that's what he is. He's a drummer.
Yeah, so Justin's a drummer as well. And so we automatically connected on that. But overall, when we were talking about having kind of in the future, we were talking about like what our crew would look like over the next couple of years, and a stage tech, for like, everything gear related, drums, wireless systems, everything. And Brandon was like, you should talk to Justin Eckhart. And I had obviously known him for years prior, and we ended up connecting. And I think your first show with us, wasn't it Prime?
Well, the first show.
The bus. Yeah, dude. Okay, yeah, that was crazy. So real quick side story here. We were headed out to a show in Cleveland with a band called Sanitarium. They are kind of a I want to say Columbus area Metallica tribute with Tom Corsi. Tom Corsi's the ringmaster there. Shout out Tom Corsi. He's got us on a great show in Dayton, and it was awesome. And he's like really committed to his craft. He loves booking good shows, and he does it like on an intimate scale. It's cool to see what he does. So he does like the Master of Tribute series. So if you're in the Ohio area, check out the Master of Tributes by Corsi Productions. He had offered us a great slot on a show that we played with him in Dayton, and I'm forever grateful for that. So but I'm getting off a track. We were talking about we were headed out to a show with him in frickin' like Medina, just outside of Cleveland. I called him with the most anguishing news. We had blown a fuel line on the turnpike, and we had ended up, when I measured it all out, we lost almost 8 gallons of diesel fuel, which is enough to like foreclose on a house right now. Because I'm just kidding, but it was still just hilarious. I'm like, all right, nothing like losing 8 gallons of 550 diesel fuel at the time. But no, that was Justin's first show, and it was funny because he got a good taste. Well, he had already traveled, but he was like, it was nice to come out with you guys under like a stressful situation, because even in a stressful situation, everyone was just chilling, and we just got it fixed, and we went back home, and we played a sold out show in Toledo the night after. All things considered, it worked out. We were bummed that we couldn't make the show, but there was like, we had to be there for the insurance, people and the repair company. So,
and that was Justin's first.
That was going to be Justin's first taster show, because it was at a smaller venue out in the Cleveland area, and then he was going to do Prime with us the next night. That was August 5th, and then he was going to do Prime on August 6th. And so he got thrown into the fire. Like we had like 491 tickets sold or something like that. It was in the 490s at Prime Nightlife, like right in Toledo here. And so yeah,
that's a good size show.
Yeah. And but it's like changed the game. Like I say, the crew that we have is just like been such a blessing. It was cool because we, as a young band and as a smaller band, like, to be able to have that, and to be able to have people that are as committed to the project, it's just like I say, it's just awesome. So
was that pretty stressful, Justin? You remember that as being like?
It was very stressful. Honestly, I thought the bus was going to burn down before we even get to pull over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
nothing like hanging out with the guys and lice invader, cool.
Oh well, you wanted to hang out with a rock band, so
Yep.
wow.
But yeah,
right.
it's been awesome. Actually, we could almost show you, but we've got 4 road cases here in the in Justin's workspace and like rehearsal area that we just picked up recently. He's one is being turned into like an overall like case, like a stand case, and a case for Eric's gong, the Alex Van Halen.
Oh right,
Oh,
the
that's right.
gong.
Yes.
Yep. Actually, here, let me just. Oh, here I go unhooking my freaking headphones
Wow.
again.
Come on.
Don't at me.
Come on,
Oh, you're
Dave. Give
fine.
me a
You're
break.
good. You're good.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, that's my line.
Oh, sorry.
But the blue case over there, so
Nice.
that's
Oh yeah.
there's
Yeah.
the 20. There's that 24 pack. There's
Oh
that,
yeah.
the 24 pack of
Coke.
Coke.
We haven't gone through it yet. That's good.
No, but that blue case, that's the gone case. We got to put some casters on there. And then the left case in the back corner there, that's going to be the wardrobe case for all of our like costumes and shoes and stuff. Right to the right of that, next to it is going to be the guitar vault for all of our lovely guitars. And then over in the right, it's standing on the side, but that's going to be like a big, let me see here. Oh, there we go.
Wow,
That's gonna be
very
a,
impressive.
That's going to be
Yeah.
a rack case for like our amps and all of our in-ears and like wireless systems and everything, some bass amps, the whole 9. So just one big unit that we can roll in and just plug and play. We'll end up actually, once that's done, we'll be able to have a lot more like live feed audio that we haven't been able to capture at all of our shows. So that'll be a really cool asset to use for like our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook and everything. So
Nice.
That was actually where it's gonna go next. I mean, I was asking if this was all basically live, what is the next step? And I guess it is streaming and stuff like that, isn't it?
To a certain extent. I mean, streaming is gonna play some integral role, but I would say that that's mostly gonna be bigger once we as a band ourselves is already bigger. Like, you know, streaming is fine. I'm not gonna knock on it, especially because, like, you know, if it means the difference between I still have another one. I've got plenty of highlight. No, but like a band that I follow a lot is Dead and Company. You know, the former members of Grateful Dead and all that. Fantastic show, but expensive tickets to go see, you know, even in some places to go on to like the lawn just to go to see them, it can start to approach the triple digits. So if it means the difference between spending that to see them on the grass or spending like $20 to have a live stream to my computer, I'm probably going to go with the live stream because, you know, the amount that it's going to take not only in the day to get there, but in the time that it takes just to get parked and seated. You know, I'd rather not have to spend all that, but you also lose a lot in the fact that you're not physically with the music. The music that's being sent to you is heavily compressed. So it, you know, it doesn't sound, you know, it'll sound full, but it doesn't sound as heavy as it could be. You know, like streaming and stuff like that, like there's a lot that can come with it. And especially when you're considering like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and all that, like it's opened up the floodgates for so many more artists that would have a harder time just trying to be heard otherwise. You know, I mean, we're just now coming out of, like, most of us were born right around when like LimeWire and all like these file sharing sites were, you know, popping off and then just dying almost instantly. Just due to like how they have introduced a lot of music to a lot of different scenes, but at the same time, you know, it means that you can't make money on the physical CD aspect of it anymore. You have to, you know, you make micro pennies per stream if you're lucky.
No.
You know, unless you're the likes of like Drake or something, you know, there's no money to be made in streaming. So the live avenue is like pretty much the best in one of the few ways that a band can actually just make money nowadays. You know, merch sales and stuff like that. Like they can help cushion some of the costs, but at the end of the day, and especially at our level, you know, they are not the end of, you know, they're not the means to an end right now.
Plus, your particular show is more like the event itself.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to stream something, you almost have to just like stream all your shows. I mean, it's not like musicians where you're writing songs, you know, we've heard these songs, but I think people would really enjoy, and you know, the more longer watched hours you get, the more revenue you get probably too. So you guys should just like probably stream your shows, because from what I've seen, they're fun as hell to watch.
They really are. Yeah.
When it comes down to doing something like that, you know, like actually one thing, I mean, we've talked about doing like live videos and so forth, and like through the growth process of this band, I think the biggest thing is just, you know, like there's an aspect to it being done live, and I still think like there's a lot of value. Like that's why just now, like as the band has grown, like to be straight up with you, trying to emulate, like people have their own opinions on tribute bands, and I understand. I had the same ones, and then I realized why tribute bands exist and what they are. I always tell people like this is like Mary Poppins on Broadway, just Van Halen style. And or like in another aspect, it's like Shakespeare wrote musicals, sonnets, whatever, that are still being performed on stage to this day. It's the same concept with these monumental arena rock bands that aren't around any longer. So like you go to see, you know, or like an actor in a movie, they didn't write that movie, but they're acting in the production. And people want to be in front of a PA that's just ripping that Unchained riff, you know, they just want to hear that exploding through speakers. So that's obviously like the main key with just doing it in general. However, there is all, you know, all respect paid to the fact that yes, streaming and releasing live videos are like, you know, they have value. It's just as like straight up as a newer band, like making sure that the content that we're releasing is like up to par and everything. But we actually just started, we just uploaded a song from Oshkosh Arena. We played Running with the Devil, and we put that up. We've got a couple of other live performances. People have a real big issue with our labeling of live performance on our YouTube channel, because we were having issues getting live mixes. And so we went into a studio, and I straight up told the guy, Nick Ingram, Capitol House Studios in Columbus, Ohio. Shout out Nick Ingram. We love you. Drum daddy. But I told him, I just said straight up, he was doing live sessions with bands. And when I asked him how it went, he said a lot of bands do the live session, but then they want it to sound like this or they want it to sound like that. I said, okay, I need you to put a mix on us, and I need you to put us in the different rooms, and we need to just play the song. So we literally set up in different rooms and just played the song like one shot. And that's what it was. So you can tell that we're relaxed because the notes are, you know, cleaner. The vocal delivery is more, you know, is less intense per se. But what you hear on that record is literally us. I can tell you, like, there's two punch-ins that we did on the entire 3 tracks, and one was literally a guitar harmonic, and then one, I'll throw myself under the bus, literally one note in Hot for Teacher was like a quarter note flat.
Meh.
And that was the only punch in on the whole thing. But other than that, everything was just straight up hit record, start the song, play it, hit stop, end. Boom. And that's why we ended up getting more. We you know, usually he only does 2 tracks a day on a live feed. We did 3 because there was no editing, there was no like breakdown. We ran the songs a couple of times like as a band, but then we just straight up, after we warmed up, you know, like musicians would before they go into the studio, we literally warmed up and then we just hit the record button, tracked it, called it a day. And then he mixed it over the next couple of days, mastered it, and bounced us the waves. So Otherwise, we do have like some straight up raw audio, and we're going to be uploading a lot like in the coming months, just because we've had a lot of really good deliveries, if you will, and some really good live footage. So
that's awesome. So your goals, let me talk about your goals. To me, I think what you're saying is your goals is to become big like the Thunderstruck and those other big bands, and maybe move with them and kind of, I don't know, do they interact together and kind of tour together? Are they totally opposite or independent and kind of compete against each other? Are they more competitive or cooperative when it comes to playing shows and stuff?
The only real thing when it comes to competing in the tribute market is the exact band. Like, you know, like for instance, you can always pair, like we played Oshkosh Arena. That was a super cool show. It was obviously a basketball arena, big stage, big, you know, big crowd, big seats, everything. But that was us, Four Horsemen out of Cleveland, which is a Metallica tribute, and then it was Sabbath, which is a Cincinnati band. Our agent Greg St. Charles was actually in that band, and then Thunderstruck headlined it. So it was like a whole tribute fest basically. And so that's like one of those things. But like overall, when you're traveling as a tribute band, generally speaking, what you want is either a showcase or you want like a local, because that's really straight up, being as transparent as possible. That's where your money is at, you know.
So a big show like that coordinated is pretty much what you want to end up doing full time, and then you could probably make a good living off that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, we still make you know, money on the shows that we do now. But it's a different, you know, conversation when it comes down to everything that it takes, because being in a band, like if you're playing local bars and so forth, like we've had this discussion because, you know, finance, I was even telling Greg earlier on the phone, historically speaking, everything in a band goes wrong when money gets involved, straight up. So transparency is key with that. And like straight up, there's expenses to running a business. And when a band is traveling and doing the things at the level that I don't mean to say this in any type of way, but like when you're traveling as a tribute band, especially, like it's a business straight up. Different concept, building an original act. Like I say, this is more of a celebration musical. So part of the reason with being in a tribute band is because of, you know, obviously the career aspect behind it. You're in a performing arts situation. So you know, we're still able to make money right now, but once we get into the higher tiers, the bigger venues and everything, yeah, it'll start to become a more monetized thing, and where it's like straight up. I think by 2024 we'll be at a level where our band and crew can pretty much be pretty comfortable with what we're making as a band. But I always say too, we play weekends. I would get bored during the week. So I always do stuff during the week too. And you know, we all encourage each other to do the same thing. It's like, you know, that's what it is right now. As it is, it's a weekend gig until we do end up doing some schedules. So, and by schedules, I mean tour schedules, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So
it sounds like you got all your ducks in a row though. So when the time comes, I mean, you're solid on your material. You can go into the studio and pretty much cut flawless tracks right now, so you can go and just pretty much play, you know, anywhere at any given moment. So what's really my big takeaway is how popular this is. I really had no idea. Like,
no, neither did I.
When those 4 bands played, I mean, how many people came to see that show? You figure?
It was, so with that particular circumstance, there was, like, just being again entirely transparent, there was probably shy of 1,000. I don't know the exact ticket sales when we settled up, but they only released a couple thousand tickets originally. And then when we, again, looking at the whole thing, talking to the promoter, that show in particular was booked on the opening day of Wisconsin deer season. And as we know, in these northern states, hunting is like a
religion.
Like even in Michigan,
ritual.
Like, because I've grown up in Michigan, I come from a hunting family. I don't know if I should say that live or not, because people will try and cancel me. LOL. ... But anyhow, when like up north, if November 15th in Michigan falls on a school day, up north
They would
Michigan
take it off.
schools, they have that off because it's literally like an American tradition to hunt opening day deer season. So we are going to go back and do that package next year. And I think that just with the right anticipation and the promotional team that we have behind us and with, behind the venue, that it'll be a grand slam next year. This was kind of the prototype this year. So, but all in all, we will end up playing some festivals and some other amphitheaters and stuff this year that, with matched tribute bands and stuff like that, that'll end up, grossing a couple thousand tickets. And it's just, that's why I say, like, people want to hear it live. Live stream is amazing for so many, so many reach reasons. But when it comes down to it, that's what I always say is, like, people might not understand or agree with tribute bands, but it's literally because it was a monumental time in musical history that people want to hear relived through a live PA system just blasting. It is what it is.
Yeah,
I went to so many shows, and just to get that feeling. Just so many shows, everything from Dawkins. I saw everybody, Ozzy. All just right in there. You guys are just giving me so many flashbacks. But I don't know. I'm really eager to see where this goes. I'm glad you guys came on tonight, because I'd kind of like to be on the journey with you, and anytime you guys are going to do something, maybe you can come back on and give us 30 minutes to promote what you're going to do and tell us how you've been and what's new, and and how Justin's doing. And Justin, you're going to end up with a camera probably in your hand. Can you shoot? He's going to end up shooting video or something too soon, I think.
Well, like I say, we got the media guys, John Fleischman and Brandon Perez. They've done a great job with all of our media. And like I say, a lot of the footage that you see on there is as far as our TikTok channel, our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything. If you go to jumptribute.com,
yes, please.
Jumptribute.com has everything, from our social media links, our contact, our agent info. It's got our music videos, our tour dates. We're working on hyperlinking all of our tour date ticket links right now. So everything's kind of like just a one-stop shop. We even have our merchandise shop on there as well, set up through Square. And we've got some like 80s inspired t-shirts, and then some branded t-shirts of, stuff that we've come up with over time. And so, like I say, jumptribute.com is the one-stop shop for everything that's going on with this particular Van Halen tribute band.
That is awesome. A good starting point if you want to. And let me tell you guys, I saw the videos. They are really fun to watch. So get over to that website and check it out. And I just want to say it's been a lot of fun, guys. And I wish you much success. And please come back and take us on the journey with you, because I know something cool is going to happen. Because, this thing, you guys have tapped into something, like you said. Like you guys are saying, everyone wants to relive that old time. Everyone's nostalgic. Me and Mark know really well that people are nostalgic for the 80s. So,
and you guys have it. Brian will agree. You guys have it down to a science.
Yeah,
down to every single detail.
It's cool. Here, let me say, it's cool to see a bunch of young guys doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Then
bunch of young guys.
2 points I have to make then, if since you started it, Brian. So I have to tell you this. So there's 2 things. The youthful nature of things, and let me see. Youth nostalgia rock and roll is like one of our kind of taglines of the band, bringing youthfulness to the tribute market, bringing nostalgia to the people, and playing rock and roll music straight up. And that's another reason, like when you said the young guys, like that's another reason that we've kind of like formulated this, was to just bring, like I say, like a young early snapshot, like you would see in, like I say, a Hollywood production or like a Broadway musical, where it's like they hire the guys that look like them when they were back in the day. Not saying we're picture perfect copies, but like we do our best and we have a good time. And like I say, we're out there to just play some rock and roll and give people a fun experience.
You're certainly delivering. So good luck to you guys, and come back soon, and keep in touch. Okay.
We'll
Sure.
definitely we'll
For
do
sure.
we'll
Totally.
get in touch afterwards, and we'll definitely set up another appointment here for maybe like later in the spring or in the summer, and we can catch up and kind of do a revamp on what's been going on.
I like it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely, man. Thank you guys. That's awesome.
Thank
we're
you.
Excited, we're excited to be here. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure having you. Okay, take care, guys. Happy
Thanks.
holidays.
Yeah.
all right.
You as well.
All right.
Take care. Good
Take
night.
care, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, click on this playlist to watch even more. And as always, thank you so much for watching.